Right, so I'm gonna get this started. I'm just gonna talk for about like 10-20 minutes. Um, I personally believe that the new SimCity game that's come out recently, the digital system that you use is the online system that EA forces people to use with the SimCity 5 is absolutely awful. It's dreadful in every sense of the word. The way you have to always be on multiplayer, the way that the actual mechanisms work, where you have to connect to it, and then you have to install the game over there, and you can only play on multiplayer. All of your saves connect into one thing. It's just awful. I say leave it on Steam. As much as Steam isn't the best service, it works, and it's what most people use, and it's what tons of people use. Keep it an essential service. Granted, a company has to pay more to get onto Steam, but if you have to pay more to get onto Steam, it means more people are going to go to you. You can sell your product for more, and more people will buy it because it's more of a centralized location. Yeah, having your own hub system, or whatever you want to call it, your own download system, whatever, having it, yeah, all well and good. People will download it, people will use more products. And if you have a good system of using it, you can compete against Steam, but you'd never win. The amount of money that Valve gets purely because of Steam, the amount of money that they rack it in over and over again because of Steam, is oblivious of the situation. It overshadows the amount of money that major companies make from producing televisions, remote controls, electronics in general, computers, all of that. It overshadows it by miles. And I personally believe that the systems that Origin for EA is using and Uplay for Ubisoft use are two services that do not need to be there. Especially if you're forcing customers to use that service because you're too arrogant to use other companies' software to make it more generalized for the user, to make it more ergonomic and more simple, instead of cluttering devices all over your computer to play a simple game you've bought with real money. And if you've bought that game with your real money, you should be able to have the ability to use that game in whatever way you wish. It brings me onto the subject also of customer services within companies. I personally believe that Microsoft and EA have the two absolute worst customer services. The people that are there are so ignorant of what you're telling them, and they believe that you're just honestly the most idiotic person upon the planet, that they have the right mind to call you out on it and say the most stupid things because they think you don't know what you're doing. When you're like me, and basically all of your life you have had a computer at your hands, or a console, and you know thick and thin what to do with it, and you understand everything, I hardly ever have to call customer support, but if I do, then it always turns out like, sir, what are you doing? Do this to the thing, it's quite obvious, and then I do it, it doesn't work. Because the problem is a lot less obvious than they think it is. And they're not even trained in it. They take courses, yeah, but none of them pay attention. They're all just some idiot that's like 75 sitting on the other line. Of course, I'm exaggerating here. Just shouting at you because, you know, you've had a small amount of problems with your Xbox or PS3 or with the Origin service or, well, the now dead OnLive service. And it is quite terrible. Speaking of OnLive though, OnLive still has ongoing service, and I quite like it. The fact that you can stream games straight to your computer. No need to download, it's nice and quick. I still have OnLive on my computer to this day for Homefront, the original Borderlands, and other games that I have sitting around here and there. And I quite enjoy the service. I like to use it with my mates, set up host games. I've spent about 90 quid. I haven't spent too much on it. I haven't spent as much as I have on Steam. To be honest, I probably wasted all my money on Steam, but you know, it's just generally it happens when you use Steam. And I don't really care that much. I waste money on Steam. Everyone does. If you don't, then you're quite stupid. Because Steam is a wonderful service when you want to get games. And personally, I believe that my sound has gone up by miles because I've just moved my microphone closer to my mouth, but apart from that, I believe that Steam is a wonderful service purely because of the centralized location for all of your video games, with the clear interface showing you exactly what you need to know for every single piece of software that you have sitting on that. And the way the service works, it's just so beautiful, in my opinion, compared to other ones that I've seen. And I do quite enjoy just sitting on my Steam, looking through the store, because it just, I can see what games I can get, I can see the new things, I can see news, I can see the community, I can see what my friends are doing and all that rubbish and paraphernalia. But I do believe that Steam has bad things about it, obviously. Um, the fact that it's run by a major company that is completely oblivious to indie companies. Of course, they've introduced Greenlight now, but if they were truly true to the indie companies, they would just let indie companies straight in. They wouldn't have to work to get it. Of course, that costs them money to do, but when it comes down to it, you're supporting a community maybe trying to become AAA titles, and the kind of people that show off what they're trying to do in life and create pieces of artwork for all of us to play and to enjoy and experience and share stories of intimate experiences and all these personal experiences that you're getting from a video game. Which brings me on to the subject of personalized gaming. When does customization become too much? Or when does it make a game just not a game anymore? It makes it a story. It makes it a visual novel instead of a game. I think Dragon Age is a good example. It's a linear or a semi-linear story. You always have to go through it, but it's customized to the point where every time you go through it, it feels different. Like playing Dungeons and Dragons, for example. Dungeons and Dragons, in my opinion, is more of a social book or a social story creation. You make a character and you lead a life with that character, and I like that. It's good, and I enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, playing it with my friends, just as I enjoyed Dragon Age, just as I enjoyed Mass Effect, as I enjoyed most of BioWare's games. Granted, they throw most of them into a trench once they're done with them and forget about them for about 4 years, but I still believe it's good. I like those games. BioWare is probably one of my favourite companies. Bethesda is another one of my favourite companies. And just to shout out there, Warfire is probably my favourite indie company. The guys that made Overgrowth, the guys that made Receiver, Total Biscuit done a video on that. I like them. They're good. I support them as well. I think that's enough ranting for now. It's been about 10 minutes. And I will see you next time I feel like ranting about stuff.